All right, mic test, 1 2 1 2, mic test. All right, welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus and Consumer Confidence. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember all the trades we discuss for educational purposes. I am not a financial advisor. Okay, the markets are opening, so the volatility should die down by the time of the report. Let me look at the DMM. It should be 59. It's 59, not 29. The trade's at 10. Yeah, it should be 59. It's a mistake. It should be 59. You're not going to trade it now, right? You don't want to trade it now unless you're trading the market open. Now, there's probably some person who doesn't know what they're doing who just took a trade, unfortunately, because we made a mistake. It is a mistake. It should be 7 7 8 8. How about 9:59:58? 9:59:58. The report's at 10. That's on me. I did that one. All right, let's talk about this report. So we've got a report that hasn't had a good gold response in 4 months. 4 months. So we've done some alternative testing, and the MNQ actually looks pretty good on this report. So I do recommend the MNQ setup for this report. Unfortunately, there is barking from the Fed is talking on Bloomberg TV. So hopefully he'll just be very quick. That's what I would hope. Because we need the market to calm down by 10 minutes to 10 o'clock. That's what we'd like to see. Now, the gold trap trade, we have a trap, we've had a breakout. Nothing's been really working all that great on gold. In April, we had jolts. So April is off the table. Anyway, April was jolts. it wasn't consumer confidence. And that's why it was so much bigger of a move. So I would not have put April on the report, in all honesty. March, there was no big move to speak of. The trap didn't get filled, and there just wasn't all that much of a move to speak of because our trap, the tiers are 12 and 22-ish. So you have to have at least a move of 12 plus slippage to get a fill, and we didn't even get a fill in March. February, we were also trying an ES trap. It wasn't very effective. The gold trap, it worked a little bit on tier 1, but again, the trap trade hasn't been much better than the breakout on this report. But when we started testing the MNQ, we looked at the last 4 months. And for the last 4 months, we've got 90 tick move in March, 100 tick in February, over 200 in January. April doesn't count because of jolts. So the MNQ's been moving pretty well on this report. So I'll trade it on MNQ 0625 is the correct instrument. Gold 0625 is moving the opposite way of the markets right now. Let's take a look, just out of curiosity, where's the volume now on gold? Just out of curiosity. Has it equalized yet, or is it going to wait until tomorrow? So 6 and the 8 contract. Nope, it's still pretty much exactly the way it was this morning. So gold is absolutely on 6. Now the markets are pulling down a bit. The NQ's pulling down a bit. Gold's pushing up at the open. The question is, do you have any interest in trading gold on this report for a possible return to previous behavior from months ago? It is possible because, you could get a fairly negative consumer confidence report. The problem with a negative report is it would try to push gold up, and we do have a pretty negative trend on gold at the moment. If you look at a longer term, a 15-minute chart on gold, gold started a pretty huge sell-off overnight, and it's really not made a big pullback since from that. So gold is quite bearish. It's pulling up now, but that could just be a market open issue and not anything more than that. So you got to wait at least until 10 o'clock to see what the trend is going to be. But at the moment, it's pulling up. But gold is still pretty bearish. Over $60 of bearishness since yesterday. So gold definitely on the bearish side at the moment. So it is a risk. I guess what I'm saying is it's a pretty big risk to take a regular gold breakout on this report, expecting better behavior than what we've seen over the past 3 months, not counting jolts, which was April. So we really haven't had a good gold report on this event. So I'll trade the MNQ in my Apex funded account, right click the chart, click on strategy, It's a breakout. It's 9:59, not 29, 9:59, 58. And just a heads up, this evening is Australia CPI, the schedule. When I made the schedule, CPI was tomorrow for Australia, but it's tonight. It wouldn't have changed anything. I would not be having a trade room for that report. But I don't know if my boss will get the DMM out, in all honesty. There may be no DMM. Our bracket on the MNQ is 40. And then we've got targets. You can go anywhere between 20 and 100 on this report, in my opinion, on your targets. And I would go to break even -5 if my target one gets hit and my stop is 100 ticks. Remember, it's MNQ. It's 50 cents a tick. 50 cents a tick. Okay? And then I'll call that a breakout MNQ. And I'll set the time to 0 like we always do to check the bracket management. That's a fancy way of saying how wide are the brackets. That's what I'm looking for. I want my brackets wide enough so I can manage the trade. Right now, a 40 tick bracket could probably last on the chart just for a couple of seconds. 40 tick bracket is not very big if a report moves over 150 ticks. There's no guarantee we're going to get 150 ticks, but it has moved quite a bit over the past 3 reports, not counting jolts. Okay? Okay, Barkin is done talking, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'm just looking at what the Fed definitely believes that tariffs are a big negative. There's no question. We're seeing tariffs and inflation reflected in consumer sentiment. That's what the Fed says, barking about the tariffs. 959.58. It's not complicated. Bracket of 40. Targets can be anywhere between 20 and 100. And everyone makes their own decisions how many contracts to trade. And then don't forget, label your trade and choose an account that you're going to trade it in. Did I not turn on my Apex? Let me find out. Where's my Apex? Forgot to turn it on. And then put your chart on the account that you're trading. All right. And then don't make sure that your time is back to what it's supposed to be, 9:59:58. 9:59:58. Okay it. Enable your trade. So my MNQ is ready to go. All right. I'm not that interested in a trap trade today on this report. Um, we just don't really know what to expect on the level of gold movement that we're going to see on this report. I think it's an unknown. I'm more inclined to take a regular gold breakout in a prop account on this report, expecting a possible return to a good move, especially if consumer confidence is better, much better, or much worse than expected. So I'm thinking about taking a one contract trade? That's what I'm thinking about. I prefer two contract trades. It's easier to manage. So I think I'm going to trade the DMM in my one of my prop accounts. So it's 9.59, knowing full well that, gold hasn't been doing great on this report. I'm a grown up. I can live with what happens. 9.59.59 on the trigger. Let's see if our bracket of 12 would be safe. Targets anywhere between 10 and 30-ish. And then the stop is 15. And then break even minus something or other if you so choose to move the stop if the first target gets hit. We're going to label this BRKGC. It's a breakout on gold. And then again, I'm always setting the time to 0 before I set my trade final setup. And I put everything on sim. You got to make sure you're on sim. Chart needs to be on sim. So you see your bracket. That's what you want to see is the bracket when you turn on the trade. You want a bracket that's wide enough so you can manage the trade. And that looks pretty good. And now I'll go back, put my time on 9:59, the correct time of the event, and then I will choose an account to trade it in. So I'll use number 10. Apply it, okay it, make sure that my chart is on 10, and then turn it on. So now I've got a gold breakout, and I've got an MNQ breakout, and I am expecting the market to calm down as we get further away from the open. The market will calm down. And I'm also going to set up a micro gold after the news, reversal continuation. You could also set up, if you want to, you could set up a reverse continuation on the MNQ on your same chart that you're doing the breakout. After the breakout is over, you'll have the availability of the reverse continuations should you want it. So you don't have to do everything exactly the way that I do. These tools are available, and I know plenty of you out there are pretty smart. You don't have to do what I do on every single trade. I like micro gold, so I like to have reversal continuations set up throughout the day. So it's a reverse continue, and then I usually like to trade 2 or 3 contracts. And I think I'll just trade 2 for a 25 tick target. Same position for both, just one position, 2 contracts, 40 tick stop on micro gold. And then I'll label that MGC REV, micro gold reverse. And I'll trade that in the Bull and Ox account that I'm trading the breakout in, because I'm only on micros on this report right now. I take that back. I'm trading full-size gold on the main report. So I think I will trade micro gold in a different account. Let's put that in a different account. Let me see which one I want to trade it in. 14 it is. So we have a reverse continue set up in one prop account on gold, a breakout on gold and MNQ on two other accounts. We have Apex for our MNQ breakout. Now look at the way the MNQ is powering up. There's extra risk because the markets are moving so strongly on news about tariffs being extended and the fact that it's also the open. All right, everybody, you can't ignore the way these markets are moving. They're moving very strongly. I still think we might get a little bit of a pause right before consumer confidence. Now, I pulled up some old videos just because I wanted to see a couple. Let's look what happened. Well, December, not so meaningful because it was right around Christmas. So when this is a trade, we wouldn't have even, let's see what we did. It was December 23rd. Normally, you don't want to be trading December 23rd. And it looks to me like, well, I traded it in my Bullinox account anyway. Let's see what happened. No, we wound up doing it in Sim. December 23rd. We had an ES trap that we were testing and a gold breakout. It wasn't a very good move on gold. When the news came out, it did a nick fill, if you know what I mean, where it just barely filled the bracket and didn't follow through. Not unusual around Christmas. They are expecting pretty negative consumer confidence, well under 90 and well under 100. And then the ES trap, it took 36 seconds to fill. And we have not stayed with the ES trap on this report as it hasn't been that great. In December, now remember, a trap trade is a reversal. December, it didn't work. So it's a good thing we were just testing it. And gold, not very impactful in December. So the MNQ on the left, let's look at what happened in November. What happened in November? We also had new homes and Richmond manufacturing. Richmond manufacturing always comes out early, always, and has no impact on the markets whatsoever. Now, why did we not have a clock on the chart? That's weird. Okay, so here's consumer confidence. ES trap. Oh, for some reason, this is, hang on, that's a playback. So I don't have a video for November. In November, it was a pretty good ES trap trade. And gold, you could see gold on the right. It's pushing up when the news comes out. Did a fairly decent sized pullback and pushed up. But the ES was actually a very good trap, but that was a long time ago also. And remember, the month after that, it was a full stop. That's inconsistent. Let's look at January on consumer confidence. What happened in the trade room in January? January, we still were looking at that ES trap. Gold on the right, and we kind of know gold hasn't been behaving all that well. Now the ES trap stopped us out in December. Looks like it made money in January. And then gold popped up, filled us long, and did an instant reversal for a loss. And then the ES trap struggled to reverse, and then it stopped us out again. So there were two stops on the ES trap. Now it did have a profit at the beginning of the trade, about $100, and then it went back up. So it hasn't been a great trap. And the problem with the gold trap, gold hasn't been moving enough. It hasn't been moving enough. I'm not loving the gold breakout. That's the truth. I think it's a big risk. So who's trading what? Anybody trading anything on this? Who's trading what? So I've got an MNQ in Apex, MNQ in Apex, and a gold trap, gold breakout in Bullinox. I'm tempted to do a gold trap trade in Bullinox instead. I almost like the trap idea better. But so I'm thinking we're going to get an unexpected news result that's going to be much worse or much better than expected. Worse is what I'm expecting. But remember, I don't try to trade on worse or better. I don't. I don't trade what I think the news is going to do. Okay? Very seldom. And every time we do, it goes the opposite way. Almost every time. So, I was thinking about Pee Wee Rubin, Pee Wee's Great Adventure. Pee Wee got lambasted by the media, and maybe very unfairly. That's what the word seems to be now that he's dead. That he was treated very unfairly by the media, that he was not um, what they said he was. And the reason it's all in the news is there's a big HBO documentary. He was very funny. I was not that big of a watcher, but people really liked him. And he might have been treated unfairly. It's possible. Watching gold on the right, I mean, it would be no surprise. Like Epstein committed suicide, right? There's not one iota of possibility that that happened. Not even the slightest possibility ever. Everything, gold, well, gold isn't really retracing. Gold's already down. It was down more. if you think about it. Gold is just doing what it's been doing for the past couple of months, particularly very sensitive to tariff news. That's what you're seeing out of gold. Tremendous sensitivity to all the tariff news. And some days gold goes the direction the market goes, and other days it goes the opposite. It used to almost always go the opposite of the markets. Now, lately, it's been a little bit more opposite. But there can be big pockets where it behaves in a way that you don't know why it's moving the way it's moving. I guess I'm just wondering about the word retracing, TJ. I think it's just volatile, you know? Now, the MNQ, you could say, did a retrace, right? It opened negative, and then now it's retracing off the open. Almost everything it gave up at the open. Now, we were aggravated last week. We had a stop on our YouTube stream of the week, Flash Manufacturing, and then we made all the money back after we closed the stream on a reverse continuation. And we wound up being profitable when we left the trade room. And unfortunately, everybody that watched us on YouTube saw us lose money, and we actually made money. So gold breakout on the right, MNQ on the left. Okay, MNQ hits the first target and the second target. Gold does a typical bad trade, no follow through. So look, Apex funded account worked beautifully. The news was tremendous. The news was tremendous. Now, I'm sorry I didn't set up a MNQ reverse continue, right? Or an NQ reverse continue, because I think it's now going to go test the high. I don't know if I can get this set up fast enough. I'm just putting on a gold is going down, and then NQ 0625. I have a reverse continue, and it's risky, but I think we're going to go test the high here. What do you think? Now, right now, the squeeze just went against us. So, you might want to do it with micro rather than full size. It might just be a little bit too much risk to use full size. Also, you always need to label your setup MNQ or NQ reverse continue. So our Apex made money because the breakout on MNQ worked. So we just missed our first target. I think we should get movement up to hit our first target. Come on. Should get our first target. The move after the news should be bullish. It should be bullish. I think the NQ should continue pushing up. If it does, I'll try to get my stop to safety. It's very choppy. There it is. Stop to safety. And now let's see how much higher we can go, or if it pulls me out of the trade. If it pulls me out of this trade, I'm going to trail and I'm going to keep moving my target if it keeps going up. So it pulled back. So I made $130 on that NQ reverse continue. And now I'll watch. Now I'll just watch. Okay. Now I'll just watch. Gold went back and hit the low. All right. Gold hit the low. I still do think probably an MNQ long is safer. It's definitely safer. I wanted to make back some of that money on that account that just screwed up with gold. So I think the NQ is going to push up and test the high. That's what I think. And I keep trading it on the wrong chart. How many times can I choose the wrong chart? Plenty. So all I want is a quick, okay, I just wanted a quick scalp. I did not want to trade it in that account. I think I was on 10. Let me see if I can figure out what stupid account I was on. 10. Apply it, okay it. Let's see where we were. Were we on 10? Yes. All right, that's where I wanted to try trading it. Now I'm going to wait. Let's see. Is it going to test that high? Or are we done? So we made 175 on one scalping evaluation account. And there it goes. I think we're a little bit late. A little bit late here to the party, right? It's 15 points. It is 15 points, but it's a chase here. It's a big chase. The move went up. The news caused the move to go up. So I think I'll watch it. I'll just watch it. I can't control myself. I think it's going to go test. What do you think? Going to go test? I think so. Be nice to buy it on a pullback. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining the stream. We're going to close our stream. We'll be back tomorrow. Just keep an eye on your email. I'm pretty sure we're streaming tomorrow. FOMC minutes, possibly. All right. So thanks on YouTube. Hit the